Are you tired of meticulously tracking every single calorie and every single gram onto an app, only to see no progress? What if I told you that you could solve up to 90% of your nutrition problems and save time with just your hand? And no, this isn't some TikTok gimmick. It's called the hand portion method, and it might change the way you eat forever. I'm Amshah Hanif, and I'm a personal trainer and online coach. I help busy men look, move, and feel better on limited time. If you're interested to learn more on how you can get better results with your training and nutrition in less time, I want to share with you 30 ways to look, move, and feel better, delivered straight to your inbox over the next 30 days. The link to that is in the description. Other than that, let's get to the video. When people start to get a little bit more serious about their nutrition goals, most of them will default to things like calorie counting, macro tracking, and using apps like MyFitnessPal, Ventricle, and MacroFactor, and whatever other calorie trackers there are out there. Now, while these apps are great, and calorie counting, macro tracking is actually a really good and effective way of trying to lose weight or build muscle, it's not always the best way for most people. Some of you work busy jobs, and the last thing you need is to add more stress onto yourself by having to track another metric like your food. The hand portion method works to eliminate that extra stress of tracking every single gram of calorie, or having to weigh out your food, or having to prepare your food even. Now, on top of it being stressful, you can also build some fatigue from counting calories, and you'll end up looking at food as numbers rather than what they are. Things that fuel you and have the potential to give you a better quality of life. So this method works because it's simple, scalable, and flexible, and works really well if you eat out a lot, have a busy lifestyle, or you just don't want to live by apps or spreadsheets. So the hand portion method can be further broken down into 4 hand signs or 4 portions. We've got the palm, which is used to measure your protein. We've got your thumb, which is used to measure your fat. We've got your fist, which is used to measure your vegetables. And we've got your cupped hand, which is used to measure your carbohydrates. Each portion size has its fixed macros, and there's no need for scales, there's no need for apps, just your hands, or if you want to get a little bit more accurate, a notebook or your notes app on your phone. Another reason why this method is great is that it scales to your size. So if you're a bigger guy with bigger hands, you're going to have bigger needs. And if you're a skinnier guy with skinnier hands, you're going to need less. And your hand size pretty much does that for you. Now, for those of you who aren't convinced about the portion sizes, let me just read off the Precision Nutrition website on the portion macros for each portion size. So for a palm of protein, that's about 24 grams of protein, 2 grams of carbs, and 4.5 grams of fats, which is roughly equivalent to about 145 calories. For a fist of veggies, it's about 1.5 grams of protein, 5 grams of carbs, and 0 grams of fat, which is roughly about 25 calories. And then you have 1 cupped hand of carbs, which is about 3 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs, 1 gram of fat, and 120 calories. And a thumb of fat, which is roughly around 2 grams of protein, 2 grams of carbs, and 9 grams of fats, roughly equivalent to about 100 calories. For the ladies, of course, it's going to be slightly smaller because you got smaller hands. But yeah, you get the drift. So you might be asking yourself, how accurate is this? Well, did you know that most food labels and calorie databases are off by up to about 20%? While according to Precision Nutrition's internal calculations, hand portion sizes are off by about 5%. So that 5% difference is really negligible compared to the 20% margin of error when it comes to calorie databases and labels. Now remember, the goal here is not perfectionism, it's to be consistent with that single method. If you stick with this long enough, I guarantee that you will see results in the long run. So how do you customize it according to your goals? So you want to start off with finding out what your base is first. So for the first week, you're going to take your weight every single day and consume 2 portions of protein, 2 portions of carbs, 2 portions of veggies, and 1 to 2 portions of fat for every single meal. If you're putting on too much weight at the end of the week, then you're eating too much. If you're losing weight at the end of the week, then you're eating too little. Now, once you've established the baseline, this is where it gets fun. If you want to gain muscle, you're going to add an extra serving of protein and or carbs. And if you want to lose weight, you're going to reduce your carbs or fat portions. And that makes it really simple. Now, I know some of you don't want to cook or don't want to prepare your own meals or don't want to live out of a Tupperware. So this method is perfect for those of you who want to eat out. All you have to do is just make sure that the food that you choose fits the portions that you have. If you accidentally ate too much in that meal, that doesn't mean that it's the end of the diet. You can adjust for the other meals as well. So if you had too much carbs at lunch, you can reduce your rice portions later on in the evening, or reduce your fat portions as well. It's all about balancing the books at the end of the day. So some foods don't really fit into a particular category. Good news is there are some workarounds. So most of these problems actually come with liquid and foods that are made out of multiple ingredients. So here's how you can handle them. So when it comes to dairy, things like milk, yogurt that's not Greek yogurt, it's a little bit confusing because they are kind of a mix of protein, carbohydrates and fats, and the fat level depends on whether you're taking whole milk, low fat milk. So my suggestion would be generally to consider what type of milk you're having. So what happens in this situation if you are having a full fat yogurt that is highly sweetened? Is it a fat or is it a carb? So think about it this way. If it's full fat, you automatically know that it's a ton of fat. And if it's really sweet, then you also know that there's some added sugar in it. So that means it's also a cut portion of carbohydrates. So yes, for certain foods, you'll have to consider the amount of fats and the amount of carbs in there. And then it may just be a portion of carbohydrate and a portion of fat in that one food item. So what about snacks and desserts like cookies, ice creams and chips? Now, because we know that they are processed foods, they're most likely going to contain sugar and fats. So they count as one portion of fat and one portion of carbs. So calorie counting and hand portion method, which is better? Now, I personally use both methods depending on what I want. If I want to be a little bit more precise with my fat loss, then I'll hop on the macro/calorie counting method. And if I want a little bit more freedom and leg room, something that's less stressful, I will go with the hand portion method. If you love counting calories, great, keep doing it. But if you keep quitting counting calories, then maybe it's time to try something new. So you can start using this hand portion method today. Track your body weight, your energy and your performance. Tweak one portion at a time and be consistent for the next 2 weeks. Remember, you don't need perfection. You just need a system that works. If you want more simple systems to transform your body and stop overthinking your nutrition, sign up for 30 ways to look, move and feel better with less time. Link is in the description below. And if you want to learn how you can cut your training down by 50% and still get better results, click on this video. I'll see you guys in the next video.